I have a quick question before we get officially started. Is it okay with everyone if your questions are captured on the audio of this video recording, which may be put up on their website? Does anyone not feel comfortable with that? Okay, so they're going to video record and it may go on a website. Thank you very much, that helps us out. And Vishesh, I'll hand it over to you. You're our chair. Thank you.
Thanks, Jamie. So we are very blessed today to have with us Sri M. I'd like to read a little bit about his biography so you all know. Please note this is the short form. There are many more accomplishments. So Sri M, spiritual guide, social reformer, and educationist, was born into a Muslim family on November 6, 1948 in Thiruvananthapuram, Kerala. His transformational journey from a young boy to a living yogi is a fascinating story symbolized by single-minded discipline and dedication. He traveled to the Himalayas at the age of 19, meeting saints and sages, eventually gaining his spiritual fulfillment under the guidance of Maheshwarnath Babaji. He is married and has 2 children. His autobiography, Apprentice to a Himalayan Master, a Yogi's Autobiography, is a bestseller. Based in Madanpalli, Andhra Pradesh, a 3-hour drive from Bangalore, he leads a simple life, teaching and guiding the Satsang Foundation and Manav Ekta Mission. So I'd like to speak a little bit about the Manav Ekta Mission and the Walk of Hope. The Manav Ekta Mission is a wing of the Satsang Foundation established by Sri M, and it powers the Walk of Hope. Manav Ekta Mission works by encouraging and nurturing the innate goodness in every human being to achieve unity of all humanity. It advocates that humanity is one, transcending religious, racial, geographical, cultural, and ideological differences. And the Walk of Hope is a Padyatra, which means walking pilgrimage, for peace and harmony by the Manav Ekta Mission, covering 6,000 kilometers from Kanyakumari to Kashmir. Led by Sri M, founder of the Manav Ekta Mission, the journey spans 15 to 18 months through 11 Indian states, bringing together citizens from all walks of life. Traversing the varied landscape of India, it seeks a significantly restored nation, fit enough to be bequeathed to our future generations. And yes, this is most definitely the short version. So please join me in welcoming Sri M. Thank you.
Do I need a microphone?
Please.
I need one? All right, then.
You.
So can you hear me there? Okay, so thank you for having me here. I know that this is an intensive leadership program, so do you want to show them the Walk of Hope, or it will come on later?
As you wish.
When we come to the subject. I'll make a short presentation first, talk to you, and then we leave it open for interaction. That's the way it should be. I want to start with a little story because, you know, as Vishesh said, I have traveled in the Himalayas, also in India extensively, and met a number of people who are usually who live in, who are recluses, who generally don't come out. And I was a student. Unless you are a good student, you can't be a good teacher. So first you need to be a good student. What I mean is first you have to be a good worker before you can be a leader. That's what I mean. So this was a story told to me by one of them, one of these yogis, teachers. He said that a person went to a teacher and said, I want to learn how to be a yogi, how to expand my consciousness and move towards spiritual evolution. So the teacher said, you have to be a student first. So he said, if I have to be a student, are the things that I'm supposed to do as a student? He said, you have to wake up early in the morning, clean up the place, bring water, cut wood. Then, for 4 hours, there is an intensive study course. You have to sit down and listen to me, interact, study. Okay, and then you have to do your asanas, postures, and so on and so forth. So this guy looked at this whole schedule. He said, this is going to take me a whole day of hard work. So he said, so this is what I have to do if I have to become a student. Okay. Then he said, what about the teacher? What does the teacher do? He said, the teacher sits here as you see me sitting here and teaches. That's all he does. Then he said, why don't you make me a teacher instead of a student? It's much more easier to do. You understand? So it's not that it's easy to do, because this teacher has passed through so much of hard work and learned things before he became a teacher. Now, after this, I'd like to tell you, in India, the relationship between a teacher and a student, or a leader and those who are led. I remember going to somebody's office and there was a notice there which said, lead, follow, or get out of the way. So, the relationship between the teacher and the taught. We have an ancient sloka, which means a verse in one of the ancient Indian texts, which is in Sanskrit. I don't know whether I should first say the Sanskrit version and then translate it to you, because it sounds good when you hear it, even though you don't know the meaning. It starts like this. This is always chanted before any kind of a teaching session. When the teacher and the students sit together, this is chanted first and then everything begins. In India also many people know this, but I'm sure they're not much better than you are as far as Sanskrit language is concerned. I don't think they know what I'm saying. So I'll translate. The sloka goes like this: Sahana bhavatu, sahanau bhunaktu, saha viryam karavavahai, tejasvina vaditamastu ma vidvishaya. Now what it means is, sahana bhavatu means, may both of us, meaning the teacher and the taught, may both of us be protected. The key word here is saha, which means both. So to teach and to learn, to lead and to be led, both have to cooperate. So it starts with like both of us be protected. Protected from distractions, of course. Depends on what you're studying. Sometimes it has to be real protection also, physically. Suppose it is defense studies. Then, sahana bhunaktu, may both of us be nourished. Because it's believed that without proper nourishment, the brain cannot work and therefore you cannot understand. Even if you don't eat for 10 days, you see that your thinking slows down, so you need proper nourishment. Not overeating, but enough to think. So, but watch the word saha here, sahana bhunaktu. This means may both of us be nourished. Saha viryam karava, again saha, which means may the energy in both of us be increased. Tejasvina vaditamastu, may the burning desire to learn grow in both of us. Ma vidvishavai, let us not fight with each other. Because a dialogue is not an argument. An argument is when I'm trying to prove something to you, or you're trying to prove something to me, or disprove what I'm trying to say. But a dialogue is when two people sit together, let's say on a fine evening in a park on the bench together, and look at the problem together. To understand the problem. Not you trying to prove yourself or I trying to prove myself, but trying to look at the problems together. So this togetherness is a very important part of learning. So I think this is clear. I'm not saying that you shouldn't argue with me. I'm just making an ancient statement in modern terms. Now, I have, from the age of 19, what would be the average age of people here? 20. Around this age, let's say. I was, how much time do we have? 1 hour to talk, or the total is 1 hour? 1 hour, okay, so I stop fast. When I was a very young boy, I had already some interest in spiritual matters. You must have heard it say that I was born in a Muslim family in India. But for some reason my interest was more in studying and understanding Hindu philosophy, apart from the religion in which I was born. So, from childhood I have had this interest due to a very strange thing that I met somebody who touched me once and then walked away. At the age of 19 I left home and wandered into the Himalayas on my own. For 2.5 years, nearly 3 years I wandered, and there I met my teacher and learned many things from him. It's to do with the expansion. There are many things which I would like to do, but we don't have time for that. But let me come down to this, that after having studied with him for 3 years, I came to the understanding that the truth that people have sought from hundreds of years is there is only one truth. But the approach to that truth, there could be many ways. Many ways leading to this truth. You could call it truth, you could call it God. Don't say God because it's not fashionable to use the word, but truth, let's say. So, but because human beings have different modes of thinking, come from different geographical localities, different cultures, so it's very clear that there must be many approaches to this. There can't be just one approach. This is what, after having experienced this, after learning about the inner spiritual practices of many religions, I have understood that this is so. And therefore, if you understand this, then religion becomes more of a uniting factor than a separating factor. Provided you say, okay, this person is following a particular, well, that is his way of life. He is trying to reach this way. Somebody may be finding a different way to reach this place, but it is the same thing. This is because with our limited minds and intellect, we cannot really look at the whole of the infinite thing called the truth. We only can know a little bit of it here and there. The thing is, we shouldn't conclude, therefore, that only things that we know are true and those other things are not true. If this much is understood, then we can still live together and think. The problem is, when truth becomes also organized, too organized, and then it loses its essence. And what we today see generally is that people are more into the organizational aspect than into the actual truth. I'll stop with a little story, which is my favorite story, told to me by a wise man. There was the devil and his friend, the devil, Satan, who went for a walk. I mean, this is a story. I don't think there is any Satan anyway. Anyway, the devil and his friend went for a walk. So, as they were walking, the devil bent down and picked up something from the grass and put it in his pocket. So his friend asked him, "What did you pick up just now?" So the devil said, "I just picked up the truth." So his friend said, "Then your days are numbered. Because you're the opposite of truth. You're falsehood, you're darkness, you're evil. If you pick up the truth, which is goodness, and put it in, then your days are numbered because you have it in your pocket." So the devil smiled and patted him on his shoulders and said, "Don't worry, friend, I'll organize it." Understand? So, this is a message which I want to spread in the whole of, first, I have to start with India. Attempts have been made before in many places. This is another attempt. Maybe a feeble attempt, I don't know. But I'm going to do it, which is, I'm going to undertake a walk. I've already met different people, religious, political and so on in India. And I have talked to them. And we have kind of come together to say that, yes, this is something that we should do. And what am I going to do? It would sound a little funny to you. I'm going to walk all the way from the south of India to the north of India, which is Srinagar. We'll put this on for them. You can watch this little. It will be a 6,600 kilometer walk. I don't know how many miles that is. And an average of 18 kilometers, but these are the people I have met. Can you show that? Just before coming here, I also went and met the present Prime Minister and the President of India and said, "This is what we are going to do." And he said, "Wonderful, we'll also support it." This is the new Prime Minister. This is our President of India. This is His Holiness the Dalai Lama. I also met all the heads of the churches. In India, you know, there are a lot of Christian churches, many bishops. I met all of them. We haven't got all the pictures here. And then I said, "Would you participate if I do this?" They said, "Yes." So, we're going to start this journey. It's called the Walk of Hope. You know, especially in India, you will see that when things go smooth, there is a communal problem coming up. People fighting with each other. You're Hindu, I'm Muslim, I understand that. So, this is an initiative to bring about peace and togetherness. So, the Manav Ekta Mission is the organized banner under which I'm going to do it, the Walk of Hope. And it means, Manav means humanity, Ekta means unity, mission, visions. So Manav Ekta Mission. So this is the Walk of Hope which we're going to do. We're going to cover from the south, there's a map out there which goes through most of the cities in India. Meeting villagers, staying with them in the evenings, talking to them, trying to find out the problems, and so on. So it's going to take me 1 year and maybe 6 months to finish the work. This is what I'll do after I go back from here. It starts on the 12th of January 2015. This is the route. So this is the whole of India actually, almost, but we have left out some places. Because if I did everything, I would spend all my life walking. It's already more than a year and 6 months. And I'm not going to use some of them cannot even afford to go in any kind of transport. You go to the villages, you meet them, and you know their problems, and then act as an intermediary to bring about some change and see what the governments can do, what we can do, and so on. So this walk has not started, but these are all it's my favorite hobby to walk. So sometimes I walk with people. So these are the actual walk stats at this time. So now I'll wind this up with another little story, which comes from something called the Sufi teachings. There are mystics who are known as Sufis, who don't much follow the orthodox systems of thought, but who are kind of rebels. And the Sufis have a beautiful story. Has anybody heard about a Sufi order called the Whirling Dervishes? So, started by someone called Rumi, who dance with their hands raised, especially there in Turkey. The founder was someone called Rumi. He has this beautiful story about 4 blind men who go to find out what an elephant is. So they're blind, so one of them touches the foot of the elephant and says, an elephant is like a pillar or like a palm tree. And that's what an elephant is all about. There's another blind man who touches the trunk of the elephant and says an elephant is like a rubbery tube which sometimes blows air and moves. Then the third blind man touches the ear of the elephant and says an elephant is kind of a fan which moves and flaps around and makes sounds. Then the fourth man touches the tail of the elephant. He says it's like kind of a long tube with bristles on it, like a brush, and it moves back and forth. And that's an elephant. And there is a big fight going on between these blind men, 4 blind men, on what is the definition of an elephant, because each has his own definition. That's when a man who can actually see appears, who is not blind. He says, what's this quarrel about?